Good morning, Pranati and others, and who is attending this class today. Very good morning to all of you. Um, in the last class, we discussed about the nature and scope of rural and urban sociology, and we also discussed in brief and in detail about that what the course is all about and what it deals
Good
and
morning, sir.
yeah, good morning. Uh, Good morning. Who is joined now? So Manimala.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, Manimala. So yeah. Just share the this information with your friends also, because this is an important class, and only you both joined. Suppose if everyone joins, that would be great. But anyways, I think this is a link will be given to you. It's a recorded class, so you can share this link with others and who could not join now. Okay. Um. Yeah. Now we'll begin the class. Should we begin the class,
Sir, we are
Manimala?
not getting YouTube links, sir. I have searched in all in YouTube, but it's not getting, sir.
Okay. I'll do one thing. Now I'll share the link in the box. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. I think I'll do that. I'll do that right away.
Okay.
Can you please check now? Chat box.
Okay. Yes, sir. I got it, sir.
Yeah, you it is got now. So it
Yes,
is
sir.
there actually. Okay, and you please subscribe to this channel also for latest updates.
Okay, sir.
Uh, okay.
Okay, sir.
Uh, yeah. Now should we begin the class now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Gitali
Uh,
question.
um, yeah, friends, and in the last class, just if you can recollect that what we discussed in the last class, and particularly we discussed about the nature and scope of rural and urban sociology. We discussed in brief that what rural sociology is all about and what rural sociology would be dealing with. So we discussed certain aspects related to that introductory parts. Now in this class, what we'll try to do is that we'll discuss about the rural and urban communities, that what is a rural community and what is an urban community, and in what way they are different and in what way they are linked with each other. So we'll try to understand the rural community. As you all know that what is a community. The community is a type of social group, and we can say, generally we say that we are living in a community. So village is a community, and even urban societies is a community. And as you might have observed that even in the urban societies, particularly a city like Hyderabad, and you have a lot of communities, for example, communities like gated community, and we are using the word community. So what is a community actually? So first we'll try to understand what is the meaning of community, and after understanding the meaning and the nature of community, we'll try to understand what is rural community as well as what is urban community. And in the later part of the class, and we'll try to understand what is the link that exists between these two, the rural community as well as the urban community, why we have to study that. So I think we'll be touching upon all these aspects in this class. Friends, now we'll try to understand what is community. Okay. Community is a type of a social group. It is an organization of human beings with a strong we feeling, which has been established for the purpose of living together. I am using the word we feeling. What is the we feeling? Community means it exists, the we feeling. We live in a community for a specific purpose, right? So that we feeling exists. We feeling means that I live for you and you live for me. So therefore, the we feeling as well as we living exist in a community. So that this is the community. Therefore we are saying it is a social group. Okay. And community As you all know that community is confined to a particular territory, and you cannot say India is a community. Can we say that? No, we cannot say. And communities are very limited scope of geographical territories. For example, a village is a community, and even in the village also you have a different caste communities, for example. So that is a different component altogether. Even in the urban spaces, and you have a gated community. So those gated communities are confined to a particular territory. Okay, so communities are now a spatially specific. They are specifically organized, specifically created for the purpose of living together, for the purpose of to meet certain objectives of that community. Okay, so in a general sense, that community denotes that a local aggregation of people having diversified as well as common interest, and served and integrated by a constellation of interest and common institutions. And it's a constellation of interest. What is a constellation of interest? The constellation means that is a group of interest. you know so we create a community for the group of certain interest to meet certain agenda of a social action. So that so in a way that these communities exist, as I say, I told you that it exists in both rural as well as in urban societies, rural as well as in urban societies. So therefore, so what I'm trying to indicate here is that, and on the one hand you have an urbanization, the growth of urbanization. On the other hand, you have a tremendous the changes in the rural community, I mean rural society. There are different communities are existing day by day. Different communities are existing, different clubs are existing. And why those communities are existing? It is basically because that when people are migrating from rural societies to urban societies, and after moving to urban societies, they have no other scope to form a group of their own. So after forming a group of their own, they live together, and they name it is, for example, gated community. And in those gated communities, for example, others are not allowed, whereas these people they won't mingle with others. They have their own particular territory. They celebrate the festivals together. They will celebrate, for example, after 2 days, and you have a new year parties, the 31st December 31st nights. And this they, all this the certain functions, they form a group. They create certain the celebrations, and by living together, and by strengthening the aspect of we feeling in the community. So what I'm trying to indicate here is that, so the communities, they're all the characters that are dominated by the nature of social groups. They are a social group. you know Communities are nothing but they are a social group. I think this is where we have to understand. And as I told you that this rural communities and urban communities cannot be separated. So in fact, they are the communities, they are interdependent of each other. Can we imagine a urban society without rural society? No, because urban societies are actually developed out of rural societies. And can we imagine an rural society without the support of urban society? No, because now today rural societies are very much interdependent on urban societies, because the kind of wealth, the kind of the occupation, the kind of economy, that is the kind of political nature, that everything is existing interdependently, right? So therefore, what I'm trying to indicate here is that this urban and rural communities are interdependent on each other, and they influence each other. So this is the main part. And when it comes to the characteristics of rural community, so what does it mean? That why we have to think about those characteristics of rural community, as we discussed in the last class, that the rural community, what are the main characteristics that actually exist. I think in the last class we discussed about the basically the rural community is a cluster of people living within a constricted territorial radius, and who share a common way of life. The rural communities generally they have a common features. For example, the among the common feature, the listed common features is, as I discussed in the last class, that the particularly the rural community, is dominated by agriculture. That is one of the common characteristics of rural communities, that it is characterized by agriculture. So the rural community is characterized by agriculture that produces all the food and dairy requirements of the community. And within the rural agricultural community, various articles of everyday needs are produced. As you so as you know that, what is that, along with the agriculture, and you have a different crafts like pottery, basket making, spinning, weaving, carpentry, for example, and brick making, shoe making, tanning, and curing hides, and washing clothes, barbering, and building houses, repairing, oil grinding, toy making, and all other things. So suppose if you can just imagine that, what are the economical aspects, economical characteristics or economical functions that actually exist in rural society, is that, it is dominated by all these factors, pottery, basket making, spinning, agriculture, weaving, carpentry, and so on and so forth. So somehow these functions are caste based functions, and some of them are not caste based, but generally it is shared by all members of the village. For example, a barbaric occupation is actually practiced by only particular community, and whereas the washing occupation is again practiced by only particular community. But whereas the agriculture, as a general, in general, so it is practiced by most of the caste in the rural community. So therefore the agriculture is some sort of a characteristic, and which is practiced by most of the members of the rural community. So this is one aspect of the rural uh, 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 community. And after that, another, what is the another characteristic that actually comes to, into our mind, is that the science and homogeneity. The science and homogeneity. Generally the size of the rural society or village community is small, as we all know that, the generally the rural communities are small when compared to the urban societies. For example, the urban communities are very, very large, in terms of its size, when compared to the rural communities. The size of the rural society or village community is small, and the population density is also very low, right? So it's like, in villages, though India is a land of villages, when we have a thousands of villages across the India, but in each village, and you have a very density of population is very low, right? So but whereas when it comes to the urban societies, the density of population is much higher, right? So you have a the population growth of urban societies is growing day by day, isn't it? So in a way that, the size, when it comes to the size of the rural society, it is said to be that, or seen that, it is the community of a village is really is small, and the population density is also very low, and the village communities are relatively homogeneous. What I'm trying to indicate here is that, why I'm saying relatively homogeneous. What is homogeneous? The homogeneous is that where everyone shares the same the characteristics. So as I told you that, the agriculture is a type of occupation where everyone practices, so therefore we are saying it is a homogeneity. Homo means same, right? So just relatively the homogeneity exists in the rural societies. One thing is the size, one next one is the homogeneity. So, and the next one is that another characteristics that actually crops to the mainstream understanding of rural community is that it is dominated by primary group. It is dominated by primary group. The village community is often regarded as the primary group. Hence the rural community, and which is characterized, and dominated by the primary relations. And there exist face to face relations among people, where every person knows every other, and hence everyone is interested in the welfare of all. The tradition and customs are relatively stronger, and behavior of the members of rural community is strongly guided by the family norms and culture. And here I'm using certain words, and please understand that this primary group. What is a primary group? The primary group, in the sense that, for example, family is the primary group. Family is a primary group. Where everyone is there exists the face to face relations, in the sense that in those primary groups, generally in villages, where everyone knows each other. Suppose, in the movies, generally it is picturized that, if a person comes from a urban background and lands up in the rural village, as soon as he enter into that rural village, everyone is like, get noticed. So it's like, they keep talking to each other, they share certain things, and they are so alert that if some new person comes, they'll be alert, and entire village knows. It's like that. So the group is primary group, where they talk to each other, they celebrate certain things with each other, they share the, suppose if there is a distress, if there is some problem that exists in the village, that everyone will participate. Suppose if there is a death happens in a particular family, so that if the death happens in a particular family, that where everyone would actually attend to that festival, I mean that ceremony, and share the sorrow. And if there is a celebration, the birth and the marriage, that so everyone will attend and share that, the celebration aspect. So what I'm trying to indicate here is that, since it is a primary group, there exists a face-to-face relation, there also exists a mutually understanding the relation, where they share the aspects, not only the celebration but also the crisis. So I think this is one of the important features of primary group. And as I told you that, another thing, that actually exists, I mean comes to our mind, is that the aspect of social structure. So what does it mean? That, the rural society, it exhibits a traditional and rigid system of social stratification, allowing for no or very limited social mobility with ascribed social status. And what I'm trying to indicate here is that, though I told you that, the rural societies generally they have a primary group, but even then those primary groups are again dominated by cultural traditions. The In the cultural traditions, one of the among the most important factor is that the caste system. That is, the caste system is so rigid, and the social stratification is also very rigid, and the social mobility is also very limited. For example, and you can't find a modern kind of aspect in the village, that if a barber, the barber and washerman and pottery, those occupations are actually derivative of caste structure, right? So if a father is actually practicing those caste occupations, it is invariably the son or the next generation will be asked to do and perform the same functions. And so in a way that, the mobility is very limited. Mobility in the sense what, that what father does, even the son also does the same. So there is no mobility at all, isn't it? There is no mobility at all. So the mobility is relatively low, and of course, in the rural structure. So what I'm trying to indicate here is that, this rural society, it exhibits a traditional and rigid system of social stratification. It's a rigid system of social stratification. The and In rural areas, and there is a complex relation between the caste and class, and usually the higher caste have more land and higher income compared to the lower caste. And there is a correspondence between the caste and class that exists in the rural societies. So and I want to highlight another important fact, another characteristic is that the primary institutions play a huge role in the rural communities. So what are the primary institutions? So what is primary institutions? The immediately we gets into our mind is that the family is the primary institution. And in the family, generally you have a lot of joint families, and whereas the urban societies you have a lot of you know I mean nuclear families, and those are called single families. But in the rural villages, and generally you have a lot of joint families. The what is that importance is that they play a huge role in determining the social functions within the family, you know so in a way that in a way that family plays a very crucial role in the rural communities. And also, for example, you have a neighborhood. And when it comes to the urban societies, in rural societies the neighborhood plays a huge role. Therefore that is called we are saying it is a community, because they share a we feeling that if there is a crisis, they share the crisis together. If there is a celebration, they celebrate the festival together. So in a way that the notion of neighborhood plays a huge role in rural communities. And of course, the kinship plays a huge role. As you all know, what is a kinship? Kinship means the lot of understanding. For example, the role of kinship plays a very huge role in the rural societies. So in a way that this rural community is strongly characterized by personal ties of kinship and friendship, and lays very stress on the consensus and informality and tradition. Therefore the importance of primary institutions play a huge role in dictating the terms and conditions of rural community to exist and endure. And as I told you that the family generally whenever we talk about rural communities, and generally it is actually we are talking about the importance of family, because um, in what is India known for? India is known for the family system, unlike in other countries. And India is known for joint family system, and whereas in other countries you hardly find that a person after attaining 18 years of age, he's allowed to move freely, he's allowed to live independently. But whereas in our societies it is not like that. So joint family system generally it is occupies a main feature of Indian societies, particularly the rural communities. And in the joint family, and you have a 3 to 4 generations, they live together under the same roof. I think that is an important aspect of family system in India. So the importance of family plays a huge role because they dictate the terms and conditions. The elders of the family, they dictate the terms and conditions of what to do and what not to do, what to eat, what not to eat, and what to celebrate and what not to celebrate. And because those traditions are coming from generations to generations. So the elders are the guardians of protecting the traditions. They'll make sure that the youngsters follow these traditions. Youngsters follow and believe in those traditions, so that once they become elders in later part of life, they'll carry this traditions and take forward. So therefore the importance family plays a huge role in rural societies, because they they dictate the terms and conditions, as I told, that they'll also dictate the practice of endogamy. What is an endogamy? Endogamy means though you marry among your own caste. What is exogamy? Exogamy means you marry outside of your caste. But this the family plays a huge role, where it makes sure that the children of the families practice endogamy. They'll make sure that they don't fall in love with others. For example, they hardly encourage love marriages. It is another important aspect of family. What is the important of family is that they'll make sure that their children, though they don't fall in love with others, particularly with other caste communities. And they make sure that they practice endogamy. Because in endogamy, in practicing the endogamy means marrying within their own caste. as long as they practice endogamy, they think that they carry their traditions forward. you know they think that there is a continuation of those traditional practices, in a way that the family plays a huge role in maintaining and continuation of those cultural norms and practices, beliefs, and so on and so forth. So in a way that the family importance of family, not only they safeguard the interest of culture and tradition, but also they also safeguard the interest of economy. For example, this joint family system, they share the common economic bond. Suppose if everyone works in the family, their economy will be stronger, in a way that they share those economic bonds, economic needs together. Therefore, the importance of family not only lies in practicing and protecting the culture, but also in safeguarding and strengthening the economic position of the family. So the importance, another importance of joint family is that generally it why it exists, because it also exists because to see to protect the family, as a part of the security system. Suppose we only through these joint family systems, they can safeguard their family, they can provide security to their families, and to protect not only their culture, but also their economy, as well as the political interest. So in a way, that the importance of family exists, and dominate the rural community at large. uh, uh, and one more thing is that uh, they are the informal social control. Why I'm using the word informal social control? I'm using these three words. I think please try to understand what does it mean. That I'm using the word informal social control. So what does it mean is that now before that, I just want to pose a question to you, that is everyone following me? Is it
Yes,
okay,
sir.
Rachel?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'll just just we'll discuss certain things like this, and so that I'll again take you back to this class. I'm using the word informal
Formal.
social control. What is informal, for example? What is formal?
Not following, sir, for the
Oh,
society rules and
very good,
regulations,
very good, very
terms
good.
and conditions.
Terms and conditions. Um, Manimala, do you have
Yes,
anything to
sir.
say to
No, sir.
Pranati, Navyasri? They're all there. Um, so what I'm trying to indicate here is that formal, informal. Okay,
Yeah.
formal means what? Formal means uh, it is derived from certain social rules and regulations. Okay, that is called formal. For example, school is a formal institution because it has its own rules and regulations, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, when you go to school and you have to say good morning teacher, and and you have to attend the class, and you have to write examinations, you have to follow certain rules and regulations. So wherever those rules and regulations exist, those are called formal institutions. For example, when you go and attend the office, is it a formal institution or informal institution?
Formal.
It is a formal institution, isn't it? Because
Yes,
office is a formal institution. Formal means you have some rules and regulations to follow. Okay, those are called
Yes, sir.
formal institutions. For example, religion is also formal institution, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, so religion, all these things, whenever you go out and you find different institutions, and those are all formal institutions. But why I'm using the word, this rural society, you have a very informal social control, I'm saying. you know Informal, this is not formal, but it is a informal means it is not that that is dictated by our government. Formal means dictated by government. Can we say our family is dictated by government? No, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Because our family exists because we love our family, and we give respect to our parents, not because that our government said that You should give respect to your family. It is not that. It is the culture that actually dictates and teaches us that, you have to give respect to your elders. And this is, since this culture plays a huge role, therefore we are respecting it. That is called informal. That is called
Okay.
informal. Social control, I'm saying informal social control. Social control in the sense, what social control means, through social institutions they control our behavior. I'll give you an example. Now I'll give you an example. Okay. um Suppose, if there is a love marriage in the family. Okay.
Mm.
It is the culture that comes into play, to say that no, 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 love marriages are not permitted, because you have to follow our own caste system, our own caste marriages. This is what the culture dictates. This is called informal social control. For example, woman is there. I'll give you another example. Okay. Suppose, if a girl is born in the family, the girls are socialized differently. The girls would be told that, no, 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 you cannot go outside alone, and you cannot go to school. For example, you have to behave in this way. Something, all the social regulations will follow on the woman, isn't it? Those rules and regulations, those are not seen in the Indian constitution, but those are seen in the culture. Therefore, whatever those functions and rules are exist in the culture, those are called informal. Those are called informal. Therefore, we are saying that those are informal social control. Those are called informal social
Social control.
control, isn't it? Rachel, are
Yes,
you understanding, Nama?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Manimala?
They are
Yes,
not
sir.
in control. They are crossing
Ah,
social things.
social thing. Yes, yes, yes. Navyasri, I'm unable to hear you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're also hearing me. Thank you. Pranati,
Yes, sir.
very good, very good. I want everyone to hear this, because this is an important class. Okay. Um, and if you have any
Okay.
doubts, you can always stop me and you will discuss. It is not like, say, where I'll be teaching, you'll be listening. No, I don't believe in that. I always believe in the mutual learning. You stop me. Suppose if you don't follow, you stop me and ask questions, so that we'll discuss. Okay. I don't want my class to be a routine class. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, Okay, so this is where the rural community, as I told you, that it is characterized by agriculture, it is characterized by joint family, it is characterized by neighborhood, it is characterized by cultural practices. For example, what is endogamy? Can anyone say? Pranati, Navesri, Manimala, Rachel.
The marriages which is known and marriages which are not in relation. Some.
Okay,
The
okay.
marriages are in same caste.
Very good. The marriage within the same caste. What is
Same
an
caste.
opposite to this? Opposite to this?
Exogamy, sir.
Very good, very good. So now, which is actually, is it which is controlling this, and who is
Culture.
dictating? Culture. Bah, perfect. Now you are following it. Very happy. So therefore, this culture is a informal social institution. They are not
Yes.
formal institutions. They are
Yes.
informal social institutions. They govern our social behavior. Therefore, they are controlling our social behavior.
Yeah.
This is where we are saying those are called informal social control, isn't it?
Yes.
They are
Got.
controlling our behavior informally, not formally, informally. How? They are controlling through culture, they are controlling through our religion, they are controlling through our lot of other factors, isn't it? Therefore, those institutions, those cultural institutions, are called informal social control,
Control.
isn't it? Did you get the point what I'm trying to indicate?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is what the characteristics of rural community. Now shall we now discuss about, now in contrast, okay? Now opposite picture, that urban society, okay? Urban community. Now we'll discuss about urban characteristics of urban community. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, whatever I picturized so far about rural community is now in opposite. Is in
Yeah.
okay, is in completely opposite. You reverse the whole paradigm. Suppose if you reverse the whole characteristics, there exists the urban community. Now in one point, both share the same thing. Is that again culture?
Huh.
Yeah, same, no?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
we,
sir.
here we can't say that in urban community exogamy is practiced. No, even in urban community also there are a lot of endogamy only.
Yes.
So the commonality exists. So though, I mean, what I'm trying to indicate here is that though generally we think that urban community and rural community are live in opposition categories, they are not actually. They're in some way or the other, they share certain characteristics. They share, okay, the commonality. The one among the commonality is that, as we discussed, is the endogamy. The culture is same, isn't it?
Huh.
So the occupation will be different. There, you have a agriculture. Here, of course, you will have a software business.
Industries,
Absolutely.
administration,
Yeah.
offices.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very nice, Amma. So this is where those certain things are different, but whereas certain things they share commonality. Okay, this is where you have to understand. Okay, now we'll discuss about characteristics of urban community. Now we'll discuss the one among the characteristic is that the size and density. Generally, urban community is larger, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So first point is that rural community is small, urban community is large. So therefore, in size they differ each other. Okay, it is the
Yeah.
more higher and it is the lower. The rural community is lower, and whereas the urban community is relatively larger
Low
when compared
population
to the.
and large population.
Exactly, Amma, you're right. You're right. Even the density of population also is very high now in urban community.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Whereas in rural community, you find very little when
Little.
compared to
Not.
very, the components of those population, they live in very small pockets. But whereas in urban communities, you have a density of population is high. Okay, is
Yes.
high.
Right.
And another important characteristic is that in rural community, you, as I told you, that primary relations exist. What are the primary relations? Primary relations means the relations between the families. Joint family. Since you have a lot of joint family, and in
Yes,
in the primary relations, you have a joint family. You have a neighborhood also. You know who is your neighbor in the
yes,
rural
sir.
societies. But
Yes,
whereas
sir.
in urban society, can we know that?
No, sir.
No,
No, because today one neighbor will be there, tomorrow he may vacate also. We do not know.
no.
Yeah.
The neighborhood is like changing. The dynamic aspect of the neighborhood in urban society is that they keep on changing, because today one neighbor will be there, tomorrow another neighbor will be there. So therefore, the concept of we feeling is missing.
Yes.
We
Yes,
feeling that exists in the rural
Togetherness.
communities, generally it won't be there in the urban communities.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Urban communities. Now you may ask me a question that, no, no, sir, you're wrong. How? Because even in urban communities also, a different communities existing. As you might have seen that, you just generally it is also happening with the rich families. I'll give you an example. Gachibowli, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
yes,
I think most of the people know. And when you go there, what is happening is that in big apartments are coming, big land sizes. They have a urban community, they have a gated community.
Okay.
yes,
And
sir.
once you go into their community, they share lot of festivals together. They share lot of
Yes, sir.
that actually exist in the rural societies. They also share batkama, they also share batkama, they also share this thing, they also, a lot of, the communities are now they are trying to replicate the rural community in urban community. you know Generally it is happening now. That lot of gated communities are now existing. And in the gated community, what they
Yes,
exist, If there is a birthday festival, everyone will come and celebrate. And you look at, what is happening now, after 2 days, you'll notice that 31st night, December
Mm-hmm.
31st night,
Yes, sir.
and you
Yes,
find
sir.
lot of these gated communities, particularly the rich communities, they celebrate lot of hangama. All families would come together. They share a common feeling that we're all one community. you know so all these things are existing now. But particularly in those, but I am talking about a urban community, where a different communities, for example, in lot of other places, like the middle classes, generally those communities, generally this sort of communities won't exist, isn't it? Because
Yes.
neighborhood would be vacating any time. It is not a, and most of the important fact is that most of these urban communities, why they are, those neighbors are moving from one place to another, because they don't own that house. They live in a rented house,
Yeah.
Rented house.
isn't it? But whereas when it comes to the rural communities, they
Own
own the
house.
house, they live together, they stay together, and they stay in that same place from generations to generation. But whereas in the urban communities, generally you don't own that flat or plot or house. Generally, the most of the people, they live in a rented house. Do you know why they live in a rented house?
Work purpose.
Exactly, you're right. One thing is the work purpose, right? Because they do not know this, because this work, they may do this work for 1 month or 2 months or 1 year or 2 years, because the guarantee of the job is not secured, right? Either the person may not like that job at some point of time, and he will resign from the job and go to another job. Or either owner of the company is not satisfied with him, and therefore he'll ask that person to resign from the job. So there is no security at all, isn't it?
But
The
in some
person.
companies, they will give quarters also, they can shift there also.
Exactly, you're right. So this is another aspect also. This is another aspect, you're right. So what I'm trying to indicate here is that the urban communities, generally, they are not a permanent futures. The fluidity of those nature is like, they keep on changing from one reason to another, one context to another. Because whereas the here the we feeling doesn't exist in the urban communities, because the neighborhood is not known. And I'll give you another example. Why the crime rate is so high in urban communities when compared to rural communities? For
There
example,
Because no we feeling.
there is
ah,
no way.
exactly,
All
you're right.
temporary, not
All
permanent.
temporary. Even if someone is, if a thief comes to and knocks the door, opens the breaks the lock, and the other neighborhood thinks that no, no, why to intervene?
Yes, sir.
Why to intervene? Let him do his job, and he's not even bothered. He's not
Yeah.
even bothered. The neighborhood is living in such a position that where hardly people talk to each other. You know.
In emergency also, the neighborhood will not help, sir.
This is another
Kali
problem
naam
also.
ke was like that.
काली
Yes, sir.
नाम के वास्ते. You're absolutely correct. काली नाम के वास्ते. That's it.
In my area also, it's like that only, sir. Nobody will know me, sir.
Nobody. And I'll tell you another example, Amma. Yesterday or day before yesterday, you might have seen lot of crime rates, in particularly in Hyderabad.
Yes, sir.
Either the wife killing the husband or husband killing the wife. Just giving an example.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fights that are happening in the family, right? But suppose if these fights are happening in the rural community, generally the neighbor would come and settle the dispute. But whereas in
Yes,
the urban communities, the lot is like a pressure cooker. you know
Yeah.
it's like a pressure cooker. They keep on fighting. End of the day, what happens? It's like a whistle, as the whistle comes from the pressure cooker, the fight is erupting. And the what is happening, the cruelty and the criminality of those cases is such so inhuman. I think yesterday or day before yesterday, the another issue happened, right? Husband killing the wife. It's very inhuman. Why it is happening? Because the neighborhood is missing.
Yeah.
Suppose if there is a strong neighborhood, they would come and talk to them. If there
Yeah.
is any problem, they'll share the problem with them. But that sort of a neighborhood is missing in the urban community. That neighborhood is missing in the urban community. I think this is where the problem is actually coming, isn't it, Amma?
That
Sir,
Yes,
count
sir.
also increasing only because no one will ask, neighbor will not know, they will not care. We can do anything in this house robbery.
Exactly, you're right. No, it is like, the family is like going into nowhere, and the thieves are coming and they're doing all of robbery. This is the different picture altogether. And just if you observe the crime rates against women, against children, against the families, against the property, for example, the lot of crimes are actually increasing in the urban communities than in rural areas,
Yes,
isn't it? Do you agree with me?
yes,
Yes, sir.
So why it is happening? Because the concept of neighborhood is missing.
Missing.
The concept of neighborhood is missing.
yes,
Missing.
So this is where what I'm trying to indicate here is that the neighborhood is so strong in the rural societies, but whereas the neighborhood is very weak in the
In our
urban
community.
societies. The
sir,
concept
recently
of
for me only happened, sir. My father-in-law fell down, sir. Nobody
okay,
came to help me, sir.
see, that is a very pathetic situation, Amma. Very pathetic situation. And what is happening, and where this urban society is going, I'm sure, I think the next generations to come, I think we are going to a very nowhere conditions, and it's like very hard to believe of the future, of the next generation. Nobody is coming forward to help. The helping hand is missing in the urban communities. Absolutely, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. So
Kindness
kindness is missing. The kindness is missing. This is where
is
relatively you find some kindness in the rural communities where someone will come and help. The kinship relations also is high, is very strong in the
rural.
rural communities, but whereas in urban societies, hardly. Even if there is an economic problem in rural societies, at least you get some appu.
Yes,
you know you
sir.
Yes, sir.
you go and ask someone, the person will say, okay, okay, give me later, I'll give you some appu. But whereas in urban communities, you hardly get some appu, because no
Yes,
one
sir.
believes you. First point is that the one what I'm trying to indicate here is that why, because either they know or we know. It's like, this is not a permanent house, we may vacate anytime. There
If
is no
they
Exactly.
have
guarantee.
money also, they will not give, sir, because they have no trust.
Yes, no trust at all. No trust at all. So this is another problem in the urban communities. Another problem in the urban communities. And one other problem is that, look at the concept of family. They generally, in rural communities, which family exists? It is the joint family.
Joint
yes.
family.
And in the urban community, which family exists? It is a
Nuclear,
nuclear family.
nuclear.
Nuclear
Single.
family, small family.
Yes,
If you are single, you don't mingle. Isn't it? There's no mingling at all. Only single. That's it. Over. No parent
If
is allowed.
suddenly
No.
any relatives comes in the urban family, so they will think how many days they will stay. Like that, they will think, sir.
Then they will go.
And this is also another problem is that, this is, I mean, genuinely, I mean, the maintaining family is a huge burden in the urban societies, because money is not sufficient, and whatever the money comes, it's only hand to mouth existence. If you get a 10,000 rupees salary, I'm sure 8,000 would go to the rent only,
Yes, sir.
only.
and only 3,000. What do they survive? It's like, maintaining families are also very hard in the urban societies, because the economic conditions, the living standards is much higher compared to the rural communities. At least in the rural community, you have a own house. Though it is a penkutillu, though it is a gudise, that is a
Yes,
different
sir.
case. But at least you have some own house. But whereas in
Only.
urban societies, it is hardly you find a place where you actually run and live. So this is another problem, isn't it?
And in
Yes,
urban
sir.
company houses also both too much cost, sir.
Very much cost, very much
Yes,
cost.
sir.
and uh, and also you have to pay a lot of rent also, advance rent. With a lot of, because
Sir,
why
we
they,
must.
I'll tell you an example, as we just discussed just now. Why they take advance? What is the purpose?
No trust, sir.
Ah, you are absolutely correct.
So they
Because
they will give agreement also, sir.
agreement also, because no
One year,
trust at all.
1 year, 1 year agreement. It
one
will
one
be
year
1 month
agreement,
year.
1 year
After
agreement, that is one thing. And next one is that they'll take the rent at least advance 3 to 4 months,
3 to 4 months, sir.
because
And
there is
after
no trust. There is no
Yes,
trust.
sir.
you
yes,
know what I'm trying to indicate here is that since the trust, the concept of trust, the concept of kindness, the concept of helping nature, the concept of
All related
dependency.
to humanity vanishing.
This is the ultimate point you said.
Yeah,
the,
sir,
the,
nowadays.
the ultimate point is that humanity is missing. Therefore, if there is an absence of humanity, and you find there's a lot of criminality is existing,
Mhm.
because as long as the humanity doesn't exist, there is a also the possibility of criminality exist and run the relations. This is where the happening future of urban societies. And you open the newspapers, and you open, switch on your TV and watch the news channels. You can you find a news channel without highlighting the criminality that exists on that day? No.
Yes,
no,
sir.
Somewhere or the other, the criminality existing, they keep on existing, they keep on existing. It is primarily because that somewhere the futures of rural community, though the futures of rural community has its own positive and negative. But of course, even the urban societies also have their own positive and negative. But we are highlighting here the negative aspects of that, because these negative aspects are actually diminishing, are actually affecting the very nature of humanity in the urban society. Therefore, we are discussing those negative aspects of those urban societies. So um, this is where the urban, the characteristics of urban features we discussed. And I want to highlight one more thing also, ma. um, let's discuss the, for example, occupation. So in rural community, you find which occupation that generally exists? Can
Rural
anyone say?
teacher,
agriculture.
Farmer,
teacher,
sir. Farmer. The
Farmer.
agriculture.
So it means agriculture,
Agriculture.
agriculture, and all the caste-based occupations. Okay, mangali, pottery, and
Yes.
you have a washerman. All this. The generally those are
Chakali.
all chakali. So all
Okay.
these things are actually based or derivative from the caste-based occupations. But where is this in urban occupations? What sort of occupations they generally exist? They exist. For example, shopkeeper, and you find lot of shops, no, shops,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
private business, or I mean, they do the business on their own. It's like a private business. And you
Self-employed.
find different business like uh,
Wholesale shop.
wholesale shop, and any other business. Just imagine and think that and this software business, for example, lot of industries are there, industrial business are there. They go and work as workers, and the managers would be there. Educational institutions, for example, and you
yes,
have
yes.
different government
Mobile
offices,
shops.
mobile shops, and those are
Coaching,
all self-employed categories, isn't it? The lot of
Yes.
self-employment. And generally now the another self-employment thing is that you find the Rapido and the Uber.
Yeah.
you
yes,
know Now this is another emerging economy. Those are
yes,
called gig workers. Gig economy is like developing. And not only that, Zomato, and you have a Swiggy,
Delivery
you have
boys, everybody.
delivery boys
teacher,
are like they are
Mhm.
now increasing. Not only boys, even girls also. you
yes,
know
sir.
Yes,
I
sir.
do I noticed even girls also coming into this era. I mean, coming into this zone, and they're also practicing this self-employment
Yes,
opportunity.
sir. In post office also nowadays, women are also going, sir, for giving posts. That.
Exactly, exactly. Now I'll tell you, I'm very proud to say that point. Women now is coming forward today. You know,
Yes, sir.
I'm
I have
very
seen,
proud.
sir. Yesterday I got a
I'm,
post.
ve-
Thank
I'm
you,
very
sir.
happy
Thank
for
you,
that.
sir.
I'm very happy because this woman is coming forward, and to study. For example, in this class only, you're all women. Now
All
you're
married.
coming back. You're
Children.
coming back to study.
Study.
At least this Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University is giving that opportunity. I'm very
Yes,
happy,
sir.
and
Yes.
we are very glad to know that these are all called women empowerment. You know, the women
Yes,
empowered. So how they can be empowered? They can be empowered through education. They can be empowered through proper economy. I mean, job employment.
Employment.
They can be empowered through political recognition, and so on and so forth. So in a way that this urban societies generally they give a scope for, this is positive aspects of urban society. The positive aspect of urban society is that they provide social mobility. you know they provide social mobility. At least they, through technology, through education, through economy aspects, at least women are coming forward. So there is a possibility of social change, there is a possibility of social empowerment. So nonetheless we have a lot of negative. So though we discussed about certain negative aspects of urban societies, but even then the positive aspects are like they provide social mobility, they provide a different economy, they provide a different living together. I think taking those dimensions into consideration, I think that the urban societies are also a place where it can provide social empowerment for the women, for the marginalized caste communities, for the poor people, and so on and so forth. So it has its own challenges. One cannot deny those things. So unless those challenges addressed, the social inequality in urban societies cannot be addressed. So I think, giving to that note, I'll end this class, Rama. So you have any doubts, Rachel,
no, sir.
It's
Manimala?
clear.
No,
No,
sir.
no, sir.
So, oh, Harinath, hi, hi. So you joined the class. Thank you for attending this class. I shared the group link in this chat, and anyone, you have a
Sir,
WhatsApp
I
group
shared
among
in
yourself.
group, sir.
You have a WhatsApp group,
I
right?
have. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you share those link, and so that others will listen to this class.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, now I'll take leave, and happy weekend to all of you, and
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
keep
Happy New Year,
listening.
sir.
Okay, yeah, yeah, of course. No, we have a class tomorrow also, right?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
No, you don't want class, no?
We want, sir. We want, sir.
Okay, and keep message to others also, so that they'll be joining this class tomorrow. I want some more people to join this class tomorrow, because
Okay.
we'll be discussing another new and important aspects in tomorrow's class. Okay,
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 sir.
now I'll take
okay.
leave. uh,
Thank you,
Bye,
sir.
Navisri, Rishal, Pranati, Manimala,
Thank you,
and
sir.
Harinath.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you so much for attending this class. I hope you all enjoyed this class.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
yeah.